Hey. Welcome to Talk Tuesday. Today's topic will be setting money boundaries. We'll go over the boundaries that you need to set right now. So if this is for you, stay tuned. Hey. Welcome to Talk Tuesday. If you've been here before, welcome back. If it's your first time, Talk Tuesday is our weekly segment where we go over tips to help you enhance your finances. I am Coach D, your financial coach, and I want to help you to reach and exceed your financial goals while still enjoying life in the process. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. So, today is a fun topic. Today, we're going to be talking about setting our financial boundaries. Some of us have them and don't acknowledge them, or some of us think we have them and we're not acknowledging them, or we don't even have them and we just complain when things happen. So, we're going to talk about them today and see if we can help you set some or get a little more serious with them. Hey, thank you guys for tuning in. Welcome. How are you doing on this fine Tuesday? Thank you for being here. All right. So, I picked this topic because I feel it's important for your finances. Having this, the boundary, not only is it a part of your self care, but it will help you with your peace, improve your finances, and it's necessary for your progress. All right. Good. I'm good. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you for asking. Yes, I'm here. I'm on. I'm not sure if it was 6:01 when I hopped on. So today, what I usually do, I sit here, I get ready, get my little camera together. Then I just sit here and like center myself. And then I usually wait. And then my cue is once my email list, so on my cell phone, it'll show me my email list. Once it sends out the message to my live subscribers or my email subscribers that hey, I'm going live. But the message never came up. So I was just sitting there and I was like, I better get on here. So if it was 6:01, forgive me because I like to be on time, but I'm not sure. It might have been still 6. But I don't know what happened. So I don't know. I have to check that out after the live. But yeah. So thank you for asking how I'm doing. I appreciate that. But back to our boundaries. So let's talk about why. Maybe you can let me know in the comments, or I'll talk about why we need them. You let me know in the comments. That'll give you time to comment. Let me know, where and when we should be, our boundaries would show up. Where do they show up, or where will we need them most? And then I'll go over why. Then I'll go into that, and then you might already have it in the comments, and then I can just agree with you, right? So, and then let me know you're here because it does show me how many people are here, but I don't know you're here if you don't comment. Hey, I like your little pink hands. Welcome. Yeah, so all right, let me get serious. All right, so why are I see the comments, I gotta stay focused. All right, so why do we need money boundaries? Why do they matter? So without the boundaries, what do we do? What most of us do, we overspend. We plan on doing something and do the opposite. We might say, oh, I'm only going to spend $100 and spend 150 or 200, which seems like a little bit, but depending on, what you have planned or what your goals are or what that other money was used for, that could really mess us up. So it's important to be consistent with that because we don't want to be not only an overspender, but an overgiver or someone who gives money out. Think about that. But, it's just about protecting your goals and reducing your stress because, yes, we might give out extra, but then when we actually need it, then it's rough for us. So, but let's talk about where it actually shows up. Budgeting, that is a good one. I like that answer. That is correct. It's a part of our spending habits. So that was good. Thank you. So our spending habits, our boundaries will show up there. With our budget, we say we're going to do this and we do that. Expectations with our family, maybe with our family, and we're someone who we are the helping hand for our family. So we'll say like, um, well, we might not even say it. It might just happen. I can't even think of a way to put it without saying, it just probably just happens. Hey, thank you for tuning in. It could be like, your family reaches out to you when they're in need, you know. It could be that maybe you notice they're in need and then you give them a hand. It could be multiple things, but sometimes it happens a little more than, once in a blue. So it can happen, and then that could cause you stress because you could be given more than you can afford to give because you're caring. So it shows up there with relationships, your friends, partners, kids, your lifestyle choices, vacationing, you know, not that because we like a vacation, but let's say we're vacationing every month or something like that. So let's go over 10 money boundaries that we could probably set. So what might be we're not going to go over all 10. Okay, take that back. I wrote 10 down, but I'm not going to go over all 10. Maybe I'll go over like 5 or 6 of them because I don't want to have you here forever. But let's have the boundaries. We'll go over the boundaries, and then one might be good for you, one might not be good for you, one might be good for someone else. But it's good to know because maybe it's not a boundary you need to set right now, but it could be a boundary you need to set later, or you could think about it like, that. That's a boundary I probably could have had back in college or back in, whenever. So maybe you can take that boundary and share it with someone else who could benefit from it because you could see that maybe, they're where you used to be. So let's go over a couple boundaries. The number one I have on here is loaning money you can't afford to lose. So this is a big, big, big boundary. That's why it's my number one, because a lot of times we will loan people money because we're so trustworthy. We're like, oh, they're going to give it back. They're going to give it back to me. And then they say they're going to give it back to you. Then it's like, all right, they're going to give it back to me. And it's like, when you loan it, you might not need it right then and there. And then you might need it, later. And then they still haven't given it back to you. So that's a big one. That's a big one. So stop loaning out money you can't afford to give. So let's say, for instance, for sake of numbers, you have $2,000. That's my favorite number, but you have $2,000, and maybe you only need 1,000 right now, and you loaned out 500, and you're okay because guess what? You still have your other 500. But then time goes on, something happens. Maybe you run into something that causes you to need your additional 500 you had set aside. Plus, you could use the 500 that you loaned out that you were expecting to get back, but you haven't received back. So that's kind of like when we experience it the most because we can feel it when we need it. It's okay when we're giving it and we don't need it, but when we needed it, like, where's my money? Give my money back. Number two, last minute trips. So it could be possibly maybe your friends or even family are planning a trip to go away, and then maybe they didn't tell you until last minute, or maybe you weren't going to go and they kind of talked you into going at the last minute, and then now you have all that expense. That's extra money. So that's a boundary you could set. Like, listen, if I don't plan this trip 3 weeks out or 4 weeks out or a couple months out, then I can't go, regardless of what anyone says or tries to talk me into, because you really need to plan it out. You got to think about it. However you're getting there, your travel, car, train, plane, whatever it is, you got to pay for that. Where you're going to be staying, whether it's a resort, hotel, someone's house, and all of them come with different expenses because if it's someone's house, then, maybe you all chip in for food and then, that's something else to think about. If it's a resort, maybe your food is included. Hotel, maybe some meals are included. So it's important to think about all the different things. So setting that boundary for, last minute vacations, having money aside for a vacation, then maybe, okay, I have this money, I'm good. Thinking about the cost, but last minute could throw you off because you could be excited to go, you're ready to go, and then maybe you just go, I'm going. You know what I mean? I'll figure it out when I get back. So it could be that. So that's a boundary to set because you're going for the fun time because someone else is going, but maybe they can afford to go. And then when you come back, you're in a tight squeeze. So that's a boundary you could set, like setting a time limit on this is how far I'm in advance I will go on a trip or a vacation or something, going to an event. Because maybe it's not a trip, maybe it could be like a concert, because they're a little pricey too, but they are a good time if it's someone you really enjoy. So I don't want to say don't go, but set your boundaries so you know what you can do and when you can do it. I have one here, co-signing for loans. That's one that it doesn't happen often, but it does happen. And when it does happen, it's usually someone close to us, and I don't know, you just never think someone would do you like that, and things happen, and it could mess you up because being the co-signer, if they just say, "Oh, I'm not paying anymore," this affects you. This 100% affects you. You are the one on the line here. Maybe that person doesn't give a darn about their credit, and that's probably why they're in that state that they're in, needing a co-signer. So you being the co-signer, trusting and believing, you set boundaries, maybe know who you would be a co-signer for, or know that I'm never being a co-signer again, or know that if I'm a co-signer, the person's going to pay me the money. Have it set up and set your boundary. That's what it's about, your boundary for that. So true. A lot of fun. Must be talking about that concert. A lot of fun. Yes, it would be. Concerts are a lot of fun, but they would. So the would part, I'm not sure what part. But yeah, definitely, that's what we're talking about today. Setting the boundaries on whatever it might be, setting that boundary. I have on here, the next one I have is setting limits with adult children or family who depend on you financially. And that's what I spoke about a little bit earlier in the conversation, but sometimes we have adult children who they need the money. They're not working, or they don't work long, or they have a little system or pattern where they keep coming back and needing a little more. But you have to, think about that and set money aside. If you set a limit, I can only afford to help them out this much. So that's a part of the boundaries. And sorry, talking more about that. I don't have to get, too deep in that, but just set your limits, because sometimes if you give, they'll never stop taking or never stop asking, or they come dependent on it and they never have to do it or try to do it for themselves, because what? They know you're going to do it. They know you're going to help them. You're going to, save them. So be mindful of that and set your boundaries on what you will and will not do in regards to giving money, co-signing, and family messing you up. Oh, yes, yes, yes. That's what but they would. Yes, yes. Because, when they want you to do the co-sign, they're like, please, please, please. And, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it right. And, and saying all the good stuff in the beginning. I have one here. This is a good one. Spending money, trying to keep up with others, trying to, live beyond what you really could afford to do. So this could be something like, it's hard to say this one without kind of insulting someone who, not intentionally insulting someone, because I don't know anyone's situation, but I don't want anyone to take it the wrong way, but just something that comes to mind for me. Like, let's say, for instance, you get, and I won't even say any makes or models or anything like that. That way I can really not do anything unintentionally. But like a car, maybe getting a car that you can't afford to get. Maybe you should get a car that's about this rate, and you get a car this rate because all your friends have a car this rate. Or you don't want to be the friend that has a car, that's this rate. You know what I mean? So I hope this makes sense, because I don't know. I don't really know how to say it without, because I don't, never want to be mean or hurt anybody's feelings, nothing like that. But I want us to set boundaries for doing what we can do, what our finances allow us to do, what our budget allows us to do, so we can continue to be comfortable and still live, and not, I'm going to go get that car because, I work hard. I want to do it, and they'll approve it for me. Yes. And what we have to keep in mind is car dealerships. They will give you, yep, keeping up with the Joneses. That's right. But car dealerships will give you a car even if you can't afford it, because they're going to make all the money on their interest, and the fees. And then if they take the car back from you, guess what? They're going to sell it again and get money from someone else. So they don't care. So right now they're making all their money. They've already probably the car was worth this amount, and then they're going to hike it up even higher. So let's say it was this amount and they charge you this amount. Then you can't afford it. Then you're paying this much in interest. Then you lose it. And then you still owe them this much. And they're going to take you to court and sue you for this much. Right. And then they're going to sell it to somebody else for that much. So they win either way. So, we use cars as an example, but there's other things you can do and purchase. Pocketbooks. That's another one. But just things, just get things that you can afford and that you like. Don't get something that someone else likes and they're telling you it's the best thing to get. Get what you want to get and what you can afford to get. And let's say you want that thing that's very expensive. Your boundary could be that I'm going to save for that so I can get exactly what I want comfortably, so I can get it and not have to struggle. So, set your boundaries so you can do it the right way. And my last one, because I feel like I've been going. The last one I'll say is, I have on here, protect your time at work, unpaid overtime. How many of us will stay at work after our shift ends to finish something? Got to do better, right? Got to do better. Or working through our lunch because we want to get it done. We want to get it finished. We don't want to be backed up when we come back or something like that. That's a boundary that needs to be set. And some of us need to set it, right? That's a big one. So we'll be like, or coming in a little bit early. Because I know if I don't come in early, when I come in, all this is going to be waiting for me. And this is going to be this. Well, guess what? Sometimes we have to let it be piled up so we can probably get help that we need, or get someone else to come in, or maybe some tasks are supposed to be divvied to someone else, and maybe you've just been helping out and they're not in a rush to get some help because you've been handling it. So this is something that is big too, that we need to keep in mind and be aware of, because sometimes we will work before work, through lunch, after work, just to get things done. And if you're getting paid overtime, do your thing, get your money. But if you're not, be mindful of that and set your boundary, because your time is valuable and you should be being paid for it. You definitely should be being paid for it and afford to pay back. Let me see, what were you talking about? And afford to be paid back. I'm not sure what that was too. But I hope some of the boundaries, I had more boundaries, but I don't want to keep on going. But I hope some of the boundaries were helpful to maybe have you think of boundaries you could begin to set, or if someone and let them know so they can set the boundary. Because the boundaries, they're really, really powerful, I would say. They're a big deal. The boundaries are a big deal. So, setting them is step one, but sticking to them is the big deal. That's the biggest deal. Sometimes we set them and we're just like, okay, I mean it this time. I'm serious. I'm not doing that anymore. And that's it. And then we do it again. So I hope this live encourages you to set some financial boundaries, and not only set them, but stick to them. And it could be hard, if it's a way of living, a way you've been doing things for a long, long, long time. And maybe you just, take baby steps, or maybe try one boundary instead of two. And then once we got comfortable with that one, then we work towards the second one and just keep going that way. But I hope this was helpful. And yeah, so those are all my boundaries for today. We started our challenge. I'm not sure if I'm going to do another one next month. So if you missed this one, I don't know if I'm going to do one in September. I don't know. I'm thinking I might take a break. So what if you're in this one? All right. So I'll see you all next Tuesday, same place, same time. Talk Tuesday. What do we do? Go over tips to help you enhance your finances. All right. So let's see if I can end this correctly. If you were on here last week and you actually stayed till the end, you got to see me put my little outro video on. And then I put the outro video on and then it like popped back to me. So I'm just sitting here like, hey, it doesn't normally do that. That's because I took off so much, after the fire. So I had to get back into the live and how I'm doing things and remember it. So I had hit the end video, but I didn't do it the proper way. So, oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Very helpful. I'm glad to hear that. All right. So I'll see you next week. If you tuned in late, watch the replay. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you all.